Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and a video I did earlier today, someone kind of chimed in and said in a comment, yeah, it really, in the grand scheme of things, each individual session that you do doesn't really matter that much. It really is about the some adaptations over time. That's really what matters. And he understood that. So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing. Work on skilling up my crafting a little bit. And let's go a little deeper with that, because you know what? A lot of people really misunderstand these things. When I say that an individual training session actually doesn't matter at all in the grand scheme of things, some people are like, no, that's not how it works. It doesn't make sense. And the reason I say that is that people will push themselves too hard instead of focusing upon just gradual progression. And here's the problem. If you ever do a training session that causes you an injury or causes tendonitis or something else that's going to limit you in the future, it has permanently set you back. It has set you back in a very serious manner, more so than people want to admit. And the reason for that is that people don't understand the analogy here. You'll see people say things like this, and I want you guys to listen to this, and it sounds really reasonable, but it's completely false. They'll say things like, when you work out or you're trying to build muscle or trying to build strength, whatever it is that you're building towards, every workout is like a brick in the wall. Every workout's like a brick in the wall. And the sum total of it, when you're done, it is the complete picture. And every single workout and training session that you put in was one little brick in the foundation of that wall. And there's some problems with that analogy. That sounds really good. That sounds really impressive. However, here's the thing that they're not understanding. Number one, you're not building a final product. The human body is a continual evolving and changing organism. There is never a final product. That's like bodybuilder competition mindset. That one competition's the final product, but what happens when they completely quit competing? Well, that product is gone. That product only lasts for that one show. It's gone. You know what? The whole idea of building a house that way instead of people thinking about it as a continual journey, this is why more experienced lifters, guys who've been in the iron game a really long time, we don't say stupid shit like that. We say it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Why do we say that? Because all of it changes, all of it fades. And when I say that each individual training session doesn't matter, I literally mean that. I mean that you will, over the course of your training career, you will lose all of the gains from each individual training session. You don't keep the adaptations from each training session. You want proof? Go work out for a year and then quit lifting weights. Come back and tell me you keep any of your progress. You actually have to maintain everything that you built with new training sessions. You have to maintain it continually or it fades. You actually detrain from every training session you do. And in fact, even if you maintain it, you've lost all the gains from those previous training sessions. The reason you still have your size and your strength when you train is because you've done new training sessions to re-stimulate, readapt. You've actually lost all the adaptation from the old ones. Sometimes they're gone within a month, meaning that individual workout didn't actually really matter. It's the continual process that you're going through that maintains the gains or gives you new ones or makes new adaptations. The old ones, they fade. So actually, if you were thinking of it building a house, every brick decays and falls away. All right, every brick in that wall decays and falls away. And if you want to keep making the brick taller, you've got to keep adding new bricks. If you even want to keep the wall the same size, you've got to keep adding bricks because the old bricks under it all break away and crumble into dust and disappear. It is about the journey. The journey is everything. You lose all of the gains from every workout you've ever done. And eventually the whole wall will crumble down because you're not going to keep your size and strength forever. You can't even maintain the intensity of your workloads for your entire life. As you get older, they will have to go down. And your strength and muscle mass will go down accordingly. Now, a lot of people do real damn good up into their 70s and 80s, but they've really had to sustain that for a long period of time. So when we go back to the story of Milo of Croton, this is important. This is important to understanding this, and this is why I say Gradual progression is everything. If you ever have a workout but you push so hard that it injures you or impedes your recovery to the point to where you've got to back down in future training sessions because of it, that was a complete wasted effort. That was stupid. You hurt your progress because it affected your ability to add more workloads and do more workouts in the future. That slows you down. No single workout is ever worth that. So pushing yourself to the point to where you get hurt, you get injured, or get inflammation doesn't work. And remember, with the story of Milo of Croton, which is the story of the father of progressive overloading, Milo started with a little bitty bull calf. All right, he started with a little bull calf and put it on his shoulders and carried it around every day. And as the bull grew, and you need to understand, that bull, it wasn't like a pound a day. The little bull calves in that time, you figure he probably started with a 100-pound calf. Bulls back then probably only got to 350, 400 pounds. All right, so over the course of 2 years, this bull gained 250, 300 pounds. That's not even anywhere near a pound a day. It's ounces a day. But you know what? The point was he became the strongest man in his era by taking 2 years of adding ounces a day to his workload. Ounces a day to the weight he was lifting and carrying around that bull. But he was able to carry around the full-grown bull later. Pretty lofty goal. I mean, still 350, 400 pounds in an era where people weren't doing weight training. To get under it, squat it up, pick it up, and carry around, that's not bad. That's not bad. The average guy in your gym can't do that. Even though a lot of people squat a lot more than that. You guys have seen me squat a lot more than that. But the point is, it was about progressive overload. That is what the body adapts to. That's what keeps you moving forward, is that little small progression, little bitty micro loading. That is what the human body thrives upon. That's what it thrives upon. And any people who come up with this idea that, oh, you've got to push everything to the limit, this hardcore stupid shit. How many of these guys are all beat up and banged up and destroyed? And a lot of them still wouldn't have any size without tons of drugs. All the guys who do this, all of them who do this. Sorry, my nose itches. But look at a guy who was a while back, Mark Lobliner he was interviewing and talking to one of the guys with his company or whatever. The guy was talking about all the muscle tears he had. He had like 6 or 7 different major muscle tears. Now, do you honestly think any sort of training is efficient or effective or ideal if you've had multiple muscle tears and major injuries? Come on, that's bullshit. People who are training like that with this hardcore training idea, all they are doing is ripping and tearing stuff that eventually is going to force them to stop training. And do you really think they're bigger for it? I mean, seriously, do you really think they're going to be bigger for it? There have been plenty of guys who've reached fantastic size, strength, everything else, who've never had injuries, who understand basic things like workload versus recovery. They understand basic things like it's not about shocking the body. It's not about stupid shit like Michael Hearn says, like blunt force trauma. That's not how you get the body to adapt. The human body adapts by gradual progression. It adapts by taking a 45-pound bench press with the empty bar and getting it to 50 pounds. Then getting it to 55 pounds. Then after months, maybe getting it up to 200 pounds. And then adding little bitty tiny amounts, backing down a little when it gets too hard, re-ramping back up, adding little small amounts of weight, adding reps here or there until you get to 300 pounds. All right, that is what training is about. That's how muscles get bigger. That's how we get stronger. That's how every form of exercise adapts in the human body. It's by little gradual progression. But the thing is, sure, those things matter each individual training session, but you have to continue to replicate them or they go away, meaning each training session, it disappears. That's why I tell people you can actually get away with repeating the same workloads for a little bit of time and still progress off of it. You actually need those little similar workloads to even sustain what you have, and then what ends up happening, eventually you adapt and it becomes easier as you get used to handling that, sustaining what you have. And then you're able to progress again. That's for people who aren't going to do periodization, but periodization still does the same thing. You actually detrain through those different blocks on the old elements, but the whole idea is that you're causing new adaptation that's causing a little bit of muscle growth through each block so that you get better at doing each new block. And all you're doing is changing before you stall and adapt. That's really all that is. But the thing is, you are fighting against entropy, really. is what you're doing. You're fighting against all of that. You're fighting against age. You're fighting against catabolism. There is a continual process there destroying your gains behind them as you build them up. So in the grand scheme of things, each session doesn't really matter because you have to keep replicating it, keep replicating the workload or increasing upon it. That it is a continual process and a dynamic organism. But by that same token, because you're already fighting against the natural order of things in your body, aging, decay, entropy, all of that, you are always losing gains that you're having to rebuild. So anything that you do that really tears the body down, like people try to come up with this shocks things, tears the muscle down, you're not doing yourself any favors. The only people who really get away with this mentality are people who are on enough drugs to stave off the damage of the tissue trauma and keep growing. But more likely than not, it's the actual drug stimulating the growth for them, not so much their training. They're getting the real gains from the drugs, not from the silly ass training methods that they're doing. You do that in someone who's drug free, some of these training concepts that are over the top to shock the body and all the stuff they come up with, they don't work very well. Body doesn't want to be shocked. It's already trying to lose muscle mass all the time. You don't need to do anything to injure muscles or tear it down any further. All you need to do is just keep moving it forward with small, gradual, progressive overload. That's really the key. And that's why it really is about the journey, not the destination, because there never is a final destination in your training or your athleticism or physique or whatever it is you're pursuing. There's no final destination until you're in the grave. You're going to be a continually changing organism. You are a living being that is going to change continually, and your journey needs to keep pace with that. And it doesn't work like a bricks in the walls that you build off of, because every single brick decays and crumbles and falls away as you go. It's all about adding new bricks to keep it going. That's the best way to look at it. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.